Welcome to LNN News. I'm Carolyn Day Pruitt. Here are this week's top stories. Hopewell's police officers are ready to serve and protect, but are their vehicles? Petersburg representatives petition Governor Youngkin to intercede in a potential casino referendum. And Petersburg's firefighters may be at risk inside their own stations. Those stories and more when we return after this.
My favorite thing about my job is I get to walk through the doors and see the residents smiling and happy, ready for the day to see what kind of activities we have going on. My name is Rachel Barefoot, and I'm the activities director here at Dunlop House. We do things like physical exercise, fun arts and crafts. Working with seniors is great because I like to be able to make their golden years the best they've ever had. No matter what's going on, the residents' health and well-being is our top priority.
Dunlop House, more than a house, it's home.
Hourglass Realty Group.
Opening the door to your next journey.
Welcome back to the LNN studio. First, let's take a look at national and state news. FBI agents raided Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida on Monday, August 8th. The former president's son, Eric Trump, told the Daily Mail that though Trump attorney Christina Bobb was present at Mar-a-Lago at the time of the raid, the agents refused to give her a copy of the search warrant, instead holding up the warrant from about 10 feet away for her to view. They then told her to exit the property and to turn off all security cameras, according to his statement to the Daily Mail. The agents were reportedly inside their property for 10 hours. Some leaders and officials have questioned the legality and appropriateness of the raid, the purpose of which, according to Bobb, was to search for presidential documentation that the FBI suspected President Trump of removing from the White House when he left. But Bobb confirmed to the Epoch Times that the agents refused to show her the reason for the raid, or probable cause for their belief that such documentation was at Mar-a-Lago. Reaction to the news of the raid has been mixed. Many Republican leaders, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, have condemned the raid, while top Democrats have been split over the Department of Justice's action. Some supportive of the move and others positing that it will solidify support for a 2024 Trump presidential run. Auction House University Archives will be selling numerous items of significant American history in an upcoming auction. According to the Daily Wire, the August 17th auction will be the largest in the organization's history. Over 500 different lots will be sold to the highest bidders. Items for sale include a pay receipt signed by Daniel Boone, a promissory note from Benedict Arnold, and a receipt signed by Benjamin Franklin. While the lots heavily represent University Archives' early American history specialty, the auction will include some items from more recent history as well. A check written by John F. Kennedy prior to becoming president will be sold, along with checks signed by Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio, and an autographed record of Bob Dylan's Blonde on Blonde. For more on these stories and more, check out the LNN Insider. Subscribe by going to LNNusa.com and clicking on the subscribe button at the top of the page. We'll be back with local news after this.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at the Cloud Factory, who take a customized approach to their customers. They know not everyone is alike, and neither are their needs. So, the Cloud Factory focuses on what's best for you when it comes to CBD, hemp-based products, vape nicotine, glassware, and just about anything, providing alternative routes to a healthier you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sandy Elba.
And I'm Dr. Adam Elba.
We're chiropractors, and we love what we do.
We change lives on a regular basis. We go from pain relief all the way to wellness. We work with the cause of the problem, we help solve the problem, and put your life on a whole different path.
If you're concerned about your health in any way, or you just want to be healthier all the way around, come see us, Chester Family Chiropractic Center.
Welcome back. Let's turn to local news. Hopewell's fleet of police vehicles is currently in a degraded state, according to an officer inside the force. The police officer wished to remain anonymous, but told LNN, quote, "Most of our cars are between 7 and 12 years old. When you consider the roads of the city and the fact that there are railroad tracks everywhere, it's a lot of wear and tear," end quote. The officer explained that officers were forced to, quote, "hot seat" patrol vehicles, a practice where an officer beginning his or her shift takes a vehicle from an officer who just ended a shift, giving officers a break, but not the cars. The officer described the car he drove during his last shift as having over 120,000 city miles on the odometer. He also explained that the hours on the engine would be even higher to reach that many city miles. He also described another situation in which a different Hopewell police officer was responding to an emergency approaching an intersection when the brakes on the vehicle went out. A presentation by Police Chief A.J. Stark during Tuesday, August 9th special City Council meeting outlined to members of City Council the harsh reality that the Hopewell PD and its officers are facing.
But officers start to get discouraged when they open their door and they are sitting in a driver's seat that has a hole in it, or they have a floorboard that you can stick your finger through the hole. And I know there are needs throughout the city of Hopewell. When I showed you the slide that said we have 40 marked vehicles in our fleet, and I highlighted the 28, I'm not asking for 28 cars tonight. There are 28 cars. If you look at the mileage and you look at the condition, I think I can make a strong argument that we need 28 cars. But I scaled it back to 15 because we have 16 cars that are well above 100,000 miles. And when we have cars that the air conditioning is failing, the suspension is failing, it is a safety issue. And again, we want to make sure that we can provide service to our community. So again, I ask the council if you would just consider everything that I've shared with you tonight, and I'm asking for funding for 15 police vehicles.
The department's vehicle fleet consists of 79 vehicles overall, including 17 unmarked vehicles with an average of 8.7 years, 5 spare unmarked vehicles slated for deadlining with an average of 15 years, 2 seizure vehicles, 1 slated for deadlining, average 17 years, 1 totaled police unit removed from the fleet, 40 marked vehicles of various makes, models, and ages. The city's crime scene van is 19 years old and its SWAT truck is 25 years old. The chief's presentation included photographs that he had personally taken of the interior of police vehicles. They depicted holes in floorboards and side paneling coming apart, among other issues. The chief also told council members that 16 marked police vehicles are currently in the shop for repairs of air conditioning, suspension, engine, transmission, and electrical issues. The chief requested a one-time federal funds expenditure for immediate replacement of 15 department vehicles, totaling close to $800,000. An additional $182,000 was requested to replace all Panasonic Toughbooks, rugged laptops designed to withstand harsh conditions in Hopewell's police vehicles. The councilors' responses raised questions of how much or little they were aware of the degraded state of the fleet prior to the chief's presentation. Councilor Jasmine Gore repeatedly insisted that she had never been aware that the police fleet was in such disrepair. However, Mayor Patience Bennett stated that council had indeed been aware of the issue. The councilors also differed in their opinions of what the next step should be to address the issue of the deteriorated vehicles. Councilor Janice Denton suggested postponing any action until a proposed special meeting in September, when other departments' needs were slated to be addressed. And Councilor Deborah Randolph stated that an overall plan for all departments was needed. Vice Mayor Johnny Parton voiced his full support for immediate fleet funding.
This is a very clear, big example in which we did not know that there was the ask for all these cars prior to the budget cycle.
Do we have a list from all the departments of their high priority?
And Chief Afsel did say there was a need for 15 cars. We all kind of went, what? And, about rolled back in our heads. So this has not been just your request. This has been at least a year or more requests.
This is not brand new. This is when we first talked about the CARES Act earlier last year. The money came through, it was on the list. I have no opposition to this. Getting the 15 vehicles because we've already voted for it to be done.
We have policemen and women in cars responding to a call, and the car breaks down and they have to call somebody else to go and do that. That was never relayed to any of us.
Ultimately, the councilors passed the motion 5-2 with Denton and Randolph dissenting to approve the new vehicles and Toughbooks, a total of $975,315.56. At that same Tuesday council meeting, the Hopewell City Council increased the city school system's budget for the coming year. Hopewell City Public Schools' fiscal year 22-23 budget was approved by City Council on June 30th, including $12.5 million in funds contributed directly by the city. On August 9th, City Council committed to providing an additional appropriation of over $1 million of the school system's unspent 2022 funding to supplement that amount. Revenue streams for Hopewell Public Schools are derived from 4 sources: state, federal, local, and other. The largest contributor is the state, providing a total amounting to $38.5 million. The federal government provides the next largest amount of the school budget at $13.3 million. The local contribution is next, with other sources amounting to just over $3 million. The Council's unanimous decision increased the local funds in the budget to $13.5 million, the total operating budget to $68.5 million, and the total overall budget to just over $71.7 million. Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Melanie Hackney was scheduled to attend the council meeting but was unable to attend. We'll be back with more local news in a moment.
Bopper's Malt Shop, the niftiest place in Petersburg. Ice cream, candy, footlong hot dogs, burgers, and now introducing the Bopper Blast, a hand-dipped vanilla shake with a blast of candy. Available in over 15 flavors. Bopper's Malt Shop, Old Town Petersburg.
Yes, you can still get haircuts, colors, highlights, waxing services, everything that's going to make you look great right here at the Apothic Company.
Welcome back. Senator Joe Morrissey and Delegate Ken Taylor, Petersburg's 2 representatives in the General Assembly, jointly sent a letter to Governor Glenn Youngkin on Thursday, August 4th, informing the governor of their concern about a potential casino referendum in Richmond. The General Assembly passed the Virginia budget bill in June, and included with that bill was a measure that would prevent the city of Richmond from placing a referendum to approve the casino on the ballot until November 2023. Now, Morrissey and Taylor are questioning the intentions of Richmond officials. Quote, "We are writing to you today to inform you of the potentially illegal actions of the city of Richmond," the letter to Governor Youngkin reads. Quote, "It has come to our attention that Richmond is considering placing a referendum on the November 2022 ballot that would ask city voters whether or not to approve of a casino in Richmond." End quote. Though the letter does not state what actions on the part of the city of Richmond have prompted Morrissey and Taylor's concern, they do explain that attempts to determine the status of a casino referendum left room for doubt. The representatives went directly to Richmond Registrar Keith Ballmer, asking Ballmer if the referendum would be included on the November 2022 ballot, a question for which he had no clear answer. Quote, "The city of Richmond has not told me whether or not to include the casino referendum on the ballot this year," Ballmer is quoted in the letter. That answer did not assuage Morrissey and Taylor's concern. They wrote to Governor Youngkin, quote, "We find this answer unacceptable and shows Richmond's intent to possibly ignore the law," end quote. In response to Richmond's capacity on the casino referendum matter, the 2 representatives requested that Governor Youngkin utilize his administration's resources to prevent Richmond from adding the referendum to their 2022 ballot. Specifically, they asked him to direct Attorney General Jason Miyares to block a Richmond casino referendum if the capital city attempts to move forward with that vote in November. Whether Richmond does attempt to place a referendum on the 2022 ballot is yet to be seen, but the preemptive action by Morrissey and Taylor, and the possibility of Youngkin and Miyares' intervention, may discourage the city from trying. LNN will continue to follow this story as it develops. A new risk for firefighters in Petersburg has recently come to light: faulty ventilation inside the fire stations. Firefighters are often required to eat, sleep, and live inside the stations for hours on end. And for local Petersburg Fire Department personnel, that may be filling their lungs with dangerous toxic particles. A 2007 National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health study determined that, quote, "more than 95% of diesel exhaust particulate is less than 1 micrometer in size and is respirable. Because of their small size, diesel exhaust particles can be inhaled deeply into the lungs and even into the bloodstream," end quote. According to a letter obtained by LNN, the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry received notification of exhaust ventilation system issues at all 4 of the Petersburg stations. The system hooks to the exhaust of the fire engines and pumps the dangerous fumes up and out of the station. Brian Frieders, president of the Firefighter Cancer Support Network, commented on the dangers of improperly working exhaust systems, stating, quote, "It is well documented that diesel exhaust contains contaminants that cause cancer amongst firefighters," end quote. The VDLI letter indicated that the Petersburg Plymo systems have been down for some time, a fact confirmed by a source inside the department, who estimated that the systems have been offline since well before Chief Tina Watkins assumed her post. A source inside the department has also confirmed that Chief Watkins was made aware of the issue prior to VOSH's involvement. VOSH could not determine if the failure of the system is causing a safety hazard in the stations, but the NIOSH report shows a direct correlation between the absence of a working system and definitive risks to the firefighters. VOSH instructed Chief Watkins to immediately investigate the situation and take any necessary steps needed to correct the conditions. The August 3rd letter also instructed Chief Watkins to advise VOSH by August 10th of the results of her investigation and proof that she had properly eliminated the hazard, as well as a description of any corrective action she has taken or is in the process of taking. LNN reached out to Chief Watkins, who provided a statement to a local television station reporting on the incident, and to Petersburg Communications Director Joanne Williams for comment and a copy of that statement. Williams did provide the statement that was sent to the TV station, but neither Watkins nor Williams provided any additional comment on the matter. We'll have sports and weather in a moment.
Colonial Plumbing, Heating, and Air offers service with a smile. They're a family-owned and operated service company located in Colonial Heights. Their hand-picked team is dedicated to delivering top-rated service with a satisfaction guarantee.
We're different from the status quo. Our people, our service, our products. They're revolutionary.
I love being at home. I mean, you do get a lot done. For instance, I just got pre-qualified for a home loan online with BSV. So be a homebody. Visit bsvnet.com to see what you qualify for.
And now we go to G. Anadipe for sports.
Are you ready for some football? Week 2 of NFL preseason football kicks off with the Titans taking on the Ravens and the New England Patriots taking on the New York Jets. Now, in other football news, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has actually filed an appeal against the 6-game suspension of quarterback Deshaun Watson. Now, he's hoping to get a longer suspension term. He refers to Deshaun Watson's actions as predatory behavior. Now, obviously, this does not look good for the quarterback or the Cleveland Browns organization, but there is some good news. Not to fear, help is here. Yours truly is willing to play. That's right, guys. You're very welcome. Now, hear me out here. Just like the backup quarterback, I may not be as good as Deshaun Watson. Ooh. But I'll play for half the cost. This way, the Browns can lose for less. You're welcome, Cleveland. Now, over to tennis news. Serena Williams pretty much broke the internet where she hinted at possibly retiring this year. Now, if you are a Serena Williams fan like myself, you're going to hate to see her go, but you're going to love to watch her leave. Because she's leaving to take care of her family, guys. Get your mind out of the gutters. We're happy for her. Now, over to the NBA. Again, the big story is still Kevin Durant versus the Brooklyn Nets. This week, the superstar forward actually marched into ownership's office and demanded that they choose between he and head coach Steve Nash. Now, word of advice, guys. If you are not as good at your job as Kevin Durant is at his, please don't try that at home. Because that's probably where you're going to find yourself, at home, applying for unemployment. Anyway, that's it for sports. Back to you, Carolyn Day.
Thanks, G. Now we go to Chai, the weather guy Gallahan. How's the weekend weather looking for us, Chai?
The weekend looks great, Carolyn Day. Friday and Saturday start off the weekend with nearly identical conditions, mostly sunny with a high of 81 and lows in the lower 60s. Not much of a chance of rain expected, so ideal conditions for a road trip or a trail hike. Sunday brings back much of the same with mostly sunny conditions, but with a 40% chance of showers and a high of 83 and a low of 63 later in the evening. Monday is partly sunny with a high of 80 and a low of 65. Rain chances 50% with thunderstorms likely after 2 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday continue partly sunny with 40% chance of showers, high of 79, low of 63. So you get lots of time for outdoor activities, and gardeners, you'll be happy because you get plenty of water for your garden. Back to you, Carolyn Day.
That's it for this week's newscast, but we'll see you next Thursday for the latest local headlines. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for watching LNN, News by the People, for the People. Hi, I'm Carolyn Day Pruitt.
And I'm Chai Gallahan.
Major media companies have editorialized reporting and called it news. The free press was never designed to be journalistic interpretation of the facts. LNN USA is committed to reporting facts about issues important to you, but the free press is anything but free.
LNN USA exists to serve our fellow citizens. As a locally owned and operated digital news network, we forego the expensive printing presses, costly production plants, and corporate overhead. Your membership dollars are primarily used to pay local reporters to cover local news. Reporters dedicated to investigative news and features that matter. To do that, we need your support.
Become a member, and you'll receive the LNN Insider Weekly Email, a 40-page magazine packed full of news and features you won't find anywhere else. Membership also includes full access to LNNnews broadcast archives, LNN Insider magazine archives, extended interview clips not aired in the weekly broadcasts, and more.
Your membership supports local independent reporting free from corporate and political pressure and agendas. Become an LNN member today by going to LNNusa.com and clicking on the subscribe button at the top of the page.